She got her own house. She got her own house. She got her own house.
Hey family, welcome back to my channel. You guys will not believe what has happened to me this time. Let's talk about it. Everybody go get your popcorn ready because it's time for story time. I never thought that I would be sitting here again getting ready to make another video about DR Horton. But if the first story wasn't bad enough, and if you haven't saw that video, I'll link it so that you can go ahead and check that one out and then come back and watch this one because that one was messy too. But if that one situation wasn't enough, they pulled the rug away from underneath me yet again. So as you guys know, I have been trying to get under contract for the past few months. The reason why I haven't been able to get under contract as of yet was because I was waiting on DR Horton, a particular community with DR Horton that's in a non-priority area, to release the lots. They had originally told me they didn't expect anything to come through until June. That was about right when they finally started rolling out the permits. The first video was the opportunity for me to get under contract for a house that was already built. I signed the contract, paid my earnest money and all of that, only for them to not countersign the contract because I was using NACA on a quick build. However, they said I would still be able to use NACA on a traditional new build. It's just not allowed on quick move-ins. Okay, fine. So I talked to my DR Horton sales rep. I was like, okay, so how much longer am I gonna have to wait? She said, well, we are in the process of rolling out permits now, and I'd anticipate I can probably get you under contract by the end of July. We have to go in the order of the people on the waiting list because people have been calling corporate and complaining on us for skipping over them on the waiting list. So we're no longer allowed to like bump people up out of line. So I know we were trying to get you in June, but now we can't get you in until maybe no later than the end of July. So I'm like, okay, at this point, it's already, you know, June. What more is it going to take out of me to wait another month and a half or so, whatever? So I was fine with waiting on the new build because it was number one, the floor plan, the number one option floor plan that I wanted. So we're going to fast forward all through then. I had just been following up. My realtor was following up, hey, any update on the permits, any update on my floor plan. And to my DR Horton sales reps, defense, she tried multiple times to get me under contract. Let me just say that I don't fault her for anything that I'm about to tell you guys, because she tried multiple times in the past few months to get me under contract, whether it was the first situation where I, you know, they didn't countersign it because it was NACA. There were also two other instances where she tried to get me under contract. One, the buyer ended up coming up with funding, so they didn't terminate the buyer's contract. And most recently, it was a few weeks back when she tried to get me in another house, but it wasn't my number one choice floor plan. I told her I'm just going to wait on my number one choice floor plan. So we're fast forwarding to last Tuesday. My number one choice floor plan finally comes up. I hit the jackpot. She reaches out to my realtor and was like, hey, her house is ready. Let's go ahead and do the contract today. So she texted me, was like, hey, I sent you the link to pay the earnest money and stuff. So I'm super geeked. I took care of it immediately, ASAP. So go ahead and pay for the earnest money deposit. I go ahead and I pay for my options that I wanted. And then I'm just waiting on the contract. Like, okay. So I leave, I go to lunch and go back to work. And I'm like, okay, well, I know she said she was going to send everything right over immediately because, you know, everything in this market has to be done immediately. So I'm waiting, and then I get a call from my realtor. But at this time, I'm at work, so I'm like, okay, I'll just talk to her later because I was just assuming that she just wanted to, you know, maybe say congratulations or, you know, something like that. I didn't think it was anything important that couldn't wait until I got off of work. So then she texts me, my realtor texts me after I didn't answer the phone and says, can you please call me? DR Horton doesn't work with NACA anymore. Can I zoom in on my face? So I called my realtor and was like, hey, what do you mean? Like, what is this about? Like, this can't be real because I was already told last time this happened that as long as it was not a quick move in, I could use NACA. And so apparently in the past 2 months, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, how convenient. The past 2 months, like since pretty much it's been since you told me that I can use NACA, you want to go back to that exact time frame and say, oh, for the past 2 months. But anyway, so for the past 2 months, they claimed that 60% of NACA's mortgages or contracts, should I say, because it's not a NACA mortgage, but NACA's contracts have not closed on time through D.R. Horton, 60%. And so that's the reason why they are not letting me move forward with just D.R. Horton, with just NACA on the contract. The only workaround they are willing to offer me at this time, because I am pre-qualified already through DHI, I and NACA would need to agree to allow, I guess, NACA and both DHI to be written into the contract. So that way, if NACA closes later, can't close on time, I would then have to let DHI take over the contract and essentially end up being within the mortgage or in the mortgage with them. Unless, I guess, I decided to terminate and walk away from my earnest money and my options money. And so I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, no, because this is bad business. Like, had you told me this a couple of months ago, okay. But number one, like I said in my last video, you guys have known that I have been a NACA offer this entire time. Why is it every time I get ready to get under contract, nobody knows that nobody works with NACA anymore until somebody tries to get under contract? Like, why have you had me sitting around waiting for these past 2 months for nothing? And so my whole thing was, you guys should at least honor what you told me. And what you told me was that as long as it's a traditional new build, you will be fine. So we agreed that I would escalate this to Amy Clausen. Apparently Amy Clausen is the one who told me last time that I could do NACA. Well, originally she said I couldn't do NACA on the quick move in, but that I would be able to use NACA on the traditional new build. And Amy Clausen is also the one who said that I couldn't go forward with NACA this time, even though she had already told me that I could. Y'all already know I tried to find Amy Clausen. I couldn't find her on Facebook or LinkedIn or anything. At least, you know, maybe I'm not spelling her name correctly or something. So I don't know what exactly her position is within D.R. Horton, but apparently she is the end all be all. So I tried to call Amy Clausen at the number that I was given. I got transferred to her secretary. It was like, hey, you know, I was supposed to get under contract today. Amy Clausen wouldn't let me move forward because she wouldn't let me use NACA. I'm trying to resolve this. Please have her call me back. I left my number. No call back. So I said, okay. I'm not about to take this lying down because buyers have the power. And I just feel that in this market, builders and sellers have become so greedy, whether it's greedy by obviously accepting the largest offer, or greedy by not being willing to fix anything and selling houses as is, greedy with your underwriting tactics, or you can't get under contract with us unless you use our lender or get pre-qual, you know, whatever stipulations they decide to come up with at the time. So once I didn't get a call back, I then proceeded to file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. Yes, your girl did. And of course I got receipts. So let me tell you guys what I said to them. And believe it or not, they actually responded back to me fairly quickly, like within a number of hours, I'd say. So at least that's one good thing that came out of this, is they actually do respond to their BBB complaints. But this is the complaint that I sent to the BBB. I said, from May 26th to July 20th of 2021, D.R. Horton in Texas wasted my time. I waited for almost 4 months to get a home. They put a hard inquiry on my credit and was told that I had a house twice, but they refused to use my lender and tried to make me agree to unorthodox underwriting processes, such as leaving their lender in my contract, even though I have my own lender. I signed a contract on one of their homes on May 26th, and D.R. Horton canceled my contract 6 hours later because they did not want to allow me to use my lender on a quick sell home, but said that I could use my lender on a traditional new build. I waited an additional 2 months for a new build to become available and paid my earnest money on July 20th, only to be told that Amy Clausen at D.R. Horton would not allow me to use my lender again, even though Amy Clausen had given the okay on May 26th to allow me to use this lender. They went back on that statement and again tried to coerce me to use their lender. I am demanding that D.R. Horton remove the inquiries. And I ran out of space, or else I would have kept going. But by inquiries, I meant hard inquiries on my credit. So believe it or not, like I said, they responded back pretty much immediately. And they said, the customer provided electronic authorization to DHI Mortgage to pull credit on May 15, 2021. Once the credit report is pulled, the inquiry cannot be removed from their credit report. Eventually, it will fall off the credit report, but DHI Mortgage does not have the option of removing it. So, of course, I'm not going to leave it there. So I responded again, because when you file a complaint, you can either accept or reject the complaint. And so I decided to reject, or not the complaint, or their response. You can accept or reject the response. And so I rejected the response, and it allowed me to reply back again. And so my response then was that I am rejecting this response because this does not excuse Amy Clausen's deceptive tactics and keeping me waiting on literally nothing, because we have in writing from D.R. Horton that we were okay to proceed with a traditional new build using my lender per Amy Clausen in May, and D.R. Horton and Amy Clausen is unwilling to honor their verbal agreement, which is legally binding in Texas with me. They responded back again. This time it took them a little bit more time, but they did respond back. And they responded back and said, we appreciate the customer's frustrations and have offered her a very good alternate plan for purchasing her home with D.R. Horton. We look forward to her reaching out to our sales representative to submit an offer. Now, mind you, that alternate plan that they just alluded to was the leaving DHI in my contract and letting them work the file along with NACA. So, of course, I rejected that response and responded back again. And I said, I'm rejecting this response because the proposed alternate plan mentioned is to bully me into using their lender, even though I was told initially by my D.R. Horton sales representative that their corporate office, aka Amy Clausen, would allow me to use my own lender on a traditional new build. Me using DHI will result in a significantly higher interest rate and a significantly larger down payment. I will happily submit an offer today if D.R. Horton honors their initial agreement with me, stated on May 26, 2021, and allow me to proceed with my lender that I've informed D.R. Horton that I was using since April 10th of 2021, and it's never been mentioned by my D.R. Horton sales representative to be a problem until every time it's time for me to get under contract. So they have not responded, and this was... the last correspondence was July 22nd, and I have not heard back from them yet. So I'm assuming they're not going to engage in a back and forth on the BBB website, just because they know the more that they respond, the more slimy they're going to look, because their tactics are going to be exposed. But nonetheless, you see that they are taking a hard stance on, you know, pretty much how they are going to treat people, treat their potential buyers. And so needless to say, I didn't move forward with getting that home, that particular home, nor any other home in that community. But it didn't stop there. So I also called, or I didn't call, I reached out to, I think, 4 local news stations here in the DFW, CBS, DFW, WFAA, NBC, and it was one more. It was one more. But anyway, so NBC actually already responded back to me and reached out for additional information. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But you may think, okay, why should I care about D.R. Horton telling you that you can't get under contract with them? So the reason why you might want to care if you're not in Dallas is because D.R. Horton is actually headquartered here in the DFW. Their headquarters is actually located in Arlington, Texas. And what happens essentially here, so all decisions that are made here essentially affect everywhere nationwide. So yes, so it may just start here in Dallas, but just keep your eyes open, okay? If you are looking to do a new build with D.R. Horton, don't be surprised if you get some pushback, okay? So I just wanted to let everyone be aware to remain vigilant, to don't put all of your eggs in one basket like I just did, waiting on D.R. Horton to come through with me, because as a result of this, I have to start completely over and get on the bottom of wait lists. I have to pay even higher prices. I have to get my credit ran again, you know, by other people just to get on the wait list. But I plan on just waiting a couple more months. You know, the housing market is cyclical anyway. And so normally around the fall time is when things will start to naturally slow down. So I'm hoping around September, I can go ahead and jump back in and start looking around again and try to get on the contract. But at this time, your girl is done, okay? So I hope that this story is helpful. Please go ahead and jump down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about these deceptive tactics that D.R. Horton has been using. Was I overreacting or what? Go ahead and share this video with anybody that you know that may be interested in going under contract with D.R. Horton, just so that they can be prepared that they may get some pushback. And also go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. It takes a village. Cheers. So one quick thing that I wanted to mention, or two things actually, I was editing the video and I realized that I didn't make it clear, but I am specifically talking about the D.R. Horton in Dallas, and that D.R. Horton did not take any of my earnest money or my options money. It never came out of my account. So I know I didn't make that clear, so I wanted to just go ahead and put that out there so that there is no misconceptions of anything that may, you know, have or have not transpired. But enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.